So hello guys, and welcome to the second episode of the 12 Days of Switchmas, and we will be covering Nintendo World Championships NES Edition, which is practically the spiritual successor to NES Remix, since it was developed by Indie Zero alongside Nintendo EPD, but it kind of retains the core aspect of NES Remix, with doing various challenges based on different NES games, but there are some differences here, since rather than just having challenges that you'd try to get like 3 stars in, and then unlock like the remixed versions of some of these games, it would have been nice to have that here, like with the remixed versions of like some NES games and everything. Like this time, it's more focused on speedrunning and getting the best time on each of the challenges here, and filling out the whole board of different challenges. So there is somewhat of a different appeal here, and I do appreciate that it is more focused on speedrunning this time, because I think that's pretty interesting that Nintendo is acknowledging the speedrunning community. They already did a little bit for Super Mario Maker, but they're kind of doing it a little more here, because it is focusing on different games and things, and I think the whole theming with Nintendo World Championships is pretty cool, since that is a pretty important piece of Nintendo history. I mean, I guess not like super important, but like I guess more important in terms of like the fan side of the Nintendo community and everything, or Nintendo history. As the Nintendo World Championships was always pretty interesting. It has that like extremely rare like cartridge and cartridges involved with it and everything. So I think like in the fact that this game had a collector's edition with like a replica of that cartridge, while also kind of having like the branding of this new game, is pretty cool. I'm glad that Nintendo acknowledged that, and I like the fact that it did have a collector's edition involved with it. So Nintendo kind of having that interesting kind of theming involved with this game, I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, I do think it is a pretty fun game. It's pretty satisfying. I like the fact that it has like an online kind of, I guess it goes beyond leaderboards a little bit. It has like ghost data that you can compete against, and then you also have the leaderboard on top of that. It is disappointing that each game doesn't have like a full leaderboard at all times. That is kind of disappointing. But it is cool having like some online integration here, and it is also cool having multiplayer here as well. So I think that's definitely a pretty cool aspect of this game. Like even like you can have like little profiles online as well. Like you could select like for your favorite NES game, you could select any NES or Famicom game here. And of course I chose Mr. Gimmick, which was on there. I'm surprised that was even on like the Western NES selection on there. That's like a pretty obscure game, and it's actually my favorite NES game. So that is really cool that you can actually select from those games. So yeah, I think that's just like a pretty cool little novelty there. And yeah, I do have some problems with this game though. Like, I feel like it's not as good as NES Remix in a few different ways, even though this game does have its own appeal, and it does stand out in a few ways, like alongside NES Remix, but NES Remix does have like a few advantages over this game, because this game only has 13 games. I think it's 13 games, which is kind of disappointing considering the fact that the original NES Remix had like 16 games, I believe. I don't think there was as many challenges for each game, but there was a little more variety there. So that's a little disappointing, like seeing like not as much variety here. I don't know, sometimes during the Switch era, from some games that we've seen, sometimes it takes like 2 steps forward, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back sometimes when it comes to like certain games. Like, yeah, it's cool that this game has online and multiplayer and everything, but we're getting a more limited selection of different games. And at the same time, we're also not getting, like, you're not able to play these NES games in full, which is also a little disappointing as well, considering the fact that on the Switch, with Nintendo Switch Online, you don't actually own the NES games, or I guess any games that you're playing on there. So it would have been nice if this game came bundled with those NES games, so you wouldn't have to worry about paying for a Nintendo Switch Online subscription to access these games. I know that would kind of be a problem from Nintendo's standpoint, but they offer so many other games on Nintendo Switch Online that wouldn't even really be a problem for them. I don't think anyone is buying Nintendo Switch Online specifically for Super Mario Bros. 3. Let's be honest. So it would have been nice to have them bundled here, but yeah, I feel like this game definitely is limited in a few aspects. Also, the fact that there aren't any, I'm not sure if I already mentioned this earlier in the video, but, the remixed versions of games from NES Remix, I know that was partially the gimmick of NES Remix, but it would have been nice to at least see that as a mode here. Maybe if you complete all of the challenges, or get, S rank on a certain amount of, challenges and missions on here, then you'll unlock, a remixed mode. That would have been cool. I know it would have, like I said, it wouldn't have been involved with the theming as much, but I still think it would have been nice to see. But yeah, anyways, I think this is a pretty solid little game here. Not as good as NES Remix, like I said, but I still think it is fairly enjoyable. I think it would have been nice if it was a little cheaper. Maybe $20 or something rather than 30. I know, I feel like that's the trend for basically every weirdly priced Nintendo game. Like I said that about Endless Ocean Luminous, and I'll say it again about some other games coming later in this series. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Blue Sky and Discord server if you want to. Goodbye.